Hello, and welcome back to The Experiment. This week's essay is titled Kitchen, or No Indication of Never Leaving. Content warnings include death and trauma. It was begun on the 2nd of the 3rd, 2023 at 9:23 p.m. The book Kitchen by author Banana Yoshimoto, published in 1987, is a book about... Well, that's an awful way to start an essay. Instead, let me start by saying I've never been more thankful for masks than while wearing one whilst reading this book on public transport. Were it not for the mask, I'd be getting strange looks due to my near constant smiling, only interrupted by intense and severe expressions of grief. Kitchen makes you feel so much. My first encounter with the author was an excerpt we were to read for class last semester from her book, Moshi Moshi. I remembered liking it, so I kept her name in mind. Then, just the other week, I'm at the bookstore, and I see a collection of her books. I picked up Kitchen and admired the wonderful pop-up color aesthetics of its cover, and also liked the internal font size, line spacing, and margins. These are the aspects most important to me in a published version of a novel. Without even reading the blurb, I took it to the counter and paid. Once I had paid and I was on the escalator out of the store, I finally read the blurb. What a coincidence. That I, a trans person, had by instinct picked the book that heavily explores transsexuality. There's much more to Kitchen than its trans characters, but it was still an enormous surprise to find such a shockingly empathetic attempt at depicting trans experiences for 1987. Much of this is not what we would today call politically correct, and there are certainly aspects worthy of criticism, namely the way that Hiragi's gender expression is rationalized, among a few other things. But again, for 1987, I consider this highly progressive. None of this is what made me love the book, however. Banana Yoshimoto once said of her works that the two main themes are the exhaustion of young Japanese in contemporary Japan and the way in which terrible experiences shape a person's life. The latter is the most obviously present in Kitchen. However, equally, and if not more present, is the theme of the way small acts of kindness shape a person's life. Kitchen is only 150 pages long. These events of both variety, terrible and wonderful, do not relent. Sometimes something bad happens because of a bad thing. Sometimes something good is caused by a good thing. Sometimes good things arise specifically because something bad happened. But rarely does anything terrible happen because of something wonderful. I want to say that again. Rarely does anything terrible happen because of something wonderful. Life just keeps happening all of the time in this book. Often it will linger in a devastating moment. Tears will slowly be making their way down your face, and it is in this moment that a character will start reciting a fond memory. And you will find the tears fall even faster, but now the corner of your mouth is wobbling between a frown and a smile. Tim Rogers remarks on a similar theme in his own writing. Something appears, giving no indication that it will never go away, and I often take sudden and long-lasting to their absolute extremes. Loving someone is like building a sandcastle. Eventually, it will be washed away, and when that happens, we will be devastated. In the meantime, however, we luxuriate in the building and admiring of our creations. I feel like I'm being disingenuous about pain here. Losing someone is not at all like losing a sandcastle. It is, in fact, a lot more like one of the worst things that can ever happen to you. It is often something that gives no indication that it will never go away. I've not lost anyone like people are lost in Kitchen, but there have been close scrapes. People I loved who barely made it out, and due to the nature of these events, I don't know them anymore. It feels a little bit like death in that way, and both of these events left me, and often still leave me, paralyzed. I'm reminded now of Driver's License by Olivia Rodriguez, and the lines, "Sidewalks we crossed, I still hear your voice in the traffic, we're laughing over all the noise." Memories flood my mind unbidden, a curse that gives no indication that it will never leave. Which is to say, that it might one day, but I'll never know. It is in these moments that I find Kitchen to be so poignant. Characters will experience grief or traumatic responses in ways analogous to my own experiences. I read as it begins to consume them, and then, as sudden as anything, I'm smiling alongside them at something so wonderfully simple and beautiful. One of life's few guarantees is change. Change, we hope, for the better. Sese was finished on the 3rd of the 3rd, 2023 at 12:03 a.m. Thank you for listening.